the channel. So in today's video we will learn about exception handling in Python, how we can do exception handling basically. So first of all, let me explain what is error and what is exception and what is the difference between these two, right? So error are some issues in the program that we cannot handle basically. Okay, like we can have syntax error, we can have memory issues, or we can have some environment issues. So these are comes under the category of error, because these we cannot handle via try catch, via exceptions, right? For example, syntax error, or if there is any indentation error in your program. So these are if these error are present in your program, so your program won't run basically. Okay, but in exception handling, these comes under runtime, where means it's basically related to runtime logic or unexpected input from the user. Okay, for example, you have maybe you are trying to read a file, and if that file is not present, okay, then you might get a file not found error, something like that, right? So this is basic difference between error and exception handling. Okay, now we will explain what is exception handling. Okay, so this is first video in our Python exception handling series. Okay, and today we will cover the basics, like what exceptions are, why they matter, and how they can help us write better and more reliable code. Okay, so what is an exception? Okay, so an exception is an error in our program that occurs during our program execution, right, and which disturb our normal flow of the code. Okay, for example, let's say we are dividing some number by another number, right? In that case, our program will work if we are not dividing by 0, right? But if we divide it by 0, then we will get something called zero division error, right? So just simple example, let me show you here. Okay, let me just put a code, and so let's say we ask user to input some number, right? So let's say input and enter a number. Okay, now print num or 10 divided by num. Okay, so let's say we enter a number as 10. So this is 1 and this is working fine until unless we enter the number as 0. If we enter the number as 0, okay, what will happen? We will get zero division error basically. So the program will stop. Okay, so if the number is not 0, it will work fine. If it is 0, then we will get some issues, and this is an exception, which is zero division error, which says that we cannot divide a number 10 by 0. Okay, okay, so Python has many built-in exceptions, right? Like zero division error, file not found error, value error, type error, etc, right? So zero division I explained, when it occurs when we divide a number by 0. Value error, it occurs when the functions get an invalid value. Let's say we are asking here for a number, right? Number which we are converting into int. Now if we run the program and if we insert something number like ABC, then we will get value error. This is an exception, because we are not inserting, means inputting the valid value, which is value error. File not found occurs when we are trying to read a file which does not exist. So in that case you will get file not found error. Like that we have type error. So there are many other error exceptions, okay, which are present in Python. Okay, now why we need exception handling basically? So if we are not doing exception handling, okay, let's say here sample example, after this we want to print something, let's say success. Now if we run this program and if we enter some number as 0, so the program crash here after this. we are not able to run our next line of code, which it means our program stopped uh, in the middle basically. But if we want to prevent this crash, okay, if we want, even if there is an issue here, we want to run this part of code after this, then we should do exception handling, right? Then improve user experience. How? Because if you handle the exception, you can provide a better error and user, which will be very helpful for user to understand what is going on inside, right? And it helps in debugging and logging error also. If you do exception handling, basically it helps to debug and where is the issues and log the error. Okay, so now let's see examples which I have shown you here, right? So this is an example without error handling. If you enter 0, you will get some error. Now how we can do better on this part, right? So normally we handle exception using try catch. Okay, try catch. Okay, so how we can modify our code here? So let's say we can write something like try. I will explain all this in next part of the video. Okay, and then if there is any error, we can write here. We can handle it like which error? So zero division error, and then we can print some message, useful message, meaningful message, that enter valid number cannot be 0, something like this. Okay, so here we are handling this error, and then even if there is an issues in this part of the code, this part will still execute. Now if we run and if we enter the number as 0, you see here we are handling the exception. What exception? Zero division error. You see here zero division error, and then we are printing a meaningful message, number cannot be 0, and after even this part is failed, not we handled it, and then next execution will complete. It won't get crash here in this part. Earlier it was crashing here and we were not able to execute the next part of the code. Okay, so this is one. Next is in the same, let's say we want to handle another exception. Instead of, let's say user is input the valid not 0, instead of that user is giving us an invalid type basically. So basically let's say value error, enter valid integer, something like that, valid number. Now what will happen if we run this program, and if we if we put abc as a number, so we are getting value error because this value abc was not correct, and we are getting an exception like enter valid number. Now after this part of the code still execute because we have handled it, right? So this is very basic about exception handling. So in the next part we will learn more about how we can use multiple handle, how try catch works and all this stuff. Okay, so the summary is like without handling exceptions it can crash our programs, and some common exceptions are zero division by error, value error, file not found error. Okay, and exceptions are basically runtime error that disrupts our program execution. Okay, so we won't come to know while writing it. Once we run it and we input some values, or if there is any issues with our logic, then we get our exception basically. Okay, so in the next video we will introduce try except, and finally and how we can use try except with else also. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions about the exception handling, please comment in the comment box. Thank you for watching.